I said, they'll just be quiet as soon as I walk up here. Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Wes Holden, husband to Marla Holden, while we're all here. I just want to first just say Marla would have been very, very uncomfortable with you turning out like this. For me, I don't deserve it, she would say. And well, then 5 minutes later, she'd walk up and say, you know what? Yes, I do. I work damn hard. Yeah, I do. But she always deferred first. The tragedy is behind us. And for what it's worth, for you guys to know, on that night, there was no moment before. There was only the moment. And the moment happened literally in the blink of an eye for Marla, for what that is worth for you guys to know. She was here and then gone. So, this is a celebration of her life, the tragedies behind us. And with that, I've asked a specific number of people to come up and speak, both her co-workers, her colleagues, and friends, to speak about their relationship, kind of representing you guys too. Everyone had an individual relationship with her, and we take that with us. I will say this right now too, and I want to ask something of you. Speaking in front of people, for some people, is very difficult. And especially given the circumstances tonight, it's difficult. So I would like to ask, as these speakers come up and give their due, if we could give them a polite round of applause to end it as they leave and walk them off, that'd be great, because it's a tough thing to do here. And I really appreciate you guys who are going to speak. Afterward, obviously, we'll go into the lobby and we can really tell stories. I didn't want to let it get out of hand. And I certainly can hear Marla in my head right now going, how long is this going to last? Gee. And then she'd say it just loud enough for people behind us to hear. And I'd be like, so anyway, we'll have the speakers, and I want to start the event and kind of turn it over to the CEO and president of George Washington's Mount Vernon, Mr. Doug Bradburn.
Thank you so much, Wes, for inviting me to be a part of this celebration of Marla's life. I was her boss, as you would say. And I give a lot of talks and speeches, and this is one of the hardest ones I think it's been for me to put together. I do want to mention that she loved Mount Vernon, and she loved the mission of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association. We have a number of members of the board here tonight, and a lot of them have in other ways reached out to me and to many members of the staff, and I know to Wes as well, to express their incredible admiration of Marla. We have our regent here, Mrs. Dee Dee Petri, Vice Regent from Delaware, Mrs. Townsend, our Vice Regent from Georgia, Mrs. Hale, and Ms. West, our Vice Regent from the District of Columbia. We flew a flag, the Ladies Association flew a flag today in honor of Marla, and we presented it to the family in a box made from George Washington's wood. It's a testimony to her extraordinary work here, dedication, excellence. These are all things you know about Marla. To know Marla was to believe in Marla. She came to us at a time, 6 years ago, I was CEO starting in January 2018, and we were embarking on a number of major projects that we knew would be multi-million-dollar projects, multi-year projects. And I was a bit at a loss, and talking to the team, we need somebody who can manage these teams. Tom Reinhardt, who was involved in one of these major projects as a preservation project, had met this extraordinary person and thought, well, maybe this is the kind of person who might fit the bill based on what we'd been talking about. And thank goodness he did, because he brought her in at a critical time. And as I say, to know her was to believe in her. When I met her the first time, I believed right away that we'd be able to do all these extraordinary things. because she just had such incredible poise, confidence, expertise. I mean, she invented her own PhD degree. And those of us who've done a PhD know that it is an awful thing to do to your family. So Wes, I know you suffered along with her for years. But we were just so delighted to have a unicorn in our midst who not only was an extraordinary expert on construction management and planning, which she was at the University of Florida and her PhD with an expertise in historic preservation, just fit the bill for us. And I know how proud she was when she finished that degree. And, it was just a remarkable thing. We're in a space that was incredibly meaningful to her. It was a project she was incredibly proud of. She probably wouldn't be happy that I'm not in a hard hat and a yellow vest right now, because this is still a construction site, by the way. I asked some of the staff to reveal the floor, the tile floor in this great hall, if you have a chance in the end to wander up and see this beautiful brass inlaid medallion. It was the kind of part of a construction project that had wonderful designers out there saying this is what you'll do, but nobody explaining how it could be done. And Marla's the one that solved this problem. It's one of these little things, a million little things in a project like this, that we could just hand off to Marla, because she would do it. And that's such an extraordinary thing, to have such a faith and confidence in somebody that things will work out. So I know for a fact that Marla knew how much I valued her. I mean, we talked a lot about her role here and about her future here and about what we were trying to build here as a place dedicated to planning and the care that took. But I'm not sure she knew how much I enjoyed working with her. She was a woman of incredible gifts, a sense of humor. A lot of people think they have a sense of humor. She actually had a sense of humor. See, that's a joke. Those of you who laughed, you got it. The rest of you don't have a sense of humor. Marla, just had an incredible wit. And I don't know if she knew how much I enjoyed spending time with her. I also don't know much she knew that I learned from her. I learned so much from Marla. About how to carry yourself in stressful times, about what we should be as an institution, what we could be. I learned a lot from her. And what I don't know also is if she knows how inspired I was by her. She always had a smile on her face. She'd come in with a complicated problem, presented to me as she was supposed to her boss, because this was the issue. She often had a solution ready to go to, so I couldn't even freak out in time. But then there would be a series of questions I would ask her, and she would answer the questions bit by bit, and I'd get to a point where she couldn't answer it anymore because it was probably a ridiculous question, or it hadn't occurred to her, or whatever. The problem was still unfolding, and she would just smile and say, I don't know that, but I'll find out. Just as if as easy as you would as you were walking over to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. No problem. Nothing ever struck her, and she was so unflappable and always happy and always upbeat. And I'm just sad she's gone, but honored to have gotten to know her and learn from her. And I know that we're going to dedicate the work we do here, this team, to make Marla proud, to do these incredible projects at the level that she expects, to figure out all the medallions in the floor and make sure that it's done right, because she was a stickler for doing things the correct way. So Wes, Marla's family, she was an incredible part of this community and gave so much. And as an incredible, fierce woman in a field like construction management, she really fit in well with the vision of all the Ladies Association here and embraced it and loved to tell those stories. And we're going to, for a long time, tell the stories of Marla. And I'm going to dedicate my hard work to get all these projects done in a way that will make her proud. So thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. Jose Pereira.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I want to say a few things about Marla. The way we work in this project, it was really incredible how professional she was. Very professional, tough lady. You ever heard that? Tough notch, tough cookie? Well, that's what she was. And I know, believe me, because I know her very well for 6 years. We've done a lot of projects here together. And I mean, in the cold weather, she didn't like the cold weather. She didn't like the cold weather at all. But she was right there, like when she was on it. And I admire her all this time, not because she had a degree from college, not because she was the boss, or because she was a lady. There's not too many ladies in construction. The reason that I admire her is because I'm going to give you an example so you can understand why I admire her. If you see the ceiling about you is painted, black, but that paint is very, how can I put it in the diplomatic way, very nasty, dusty, you name it, paint. So in the beginning of this month, we had to spray the ceiling, and it was like a lot of people here, a lot of workers, and we had to do it from 6 p.m. forward. And there was a whole bunch of crews on that side, the back, and everywhere. And the guys who spraying the ceilings, wearing goggles, when they start spraying, it was like, get kind of foggy and you can see. So somebody had to stay at the bottom with a flashlight, making sure that, getting things done properly. And that somebody was me. And I was like, man, it's going to be a tough night tonight. Going from that end to this end in the back and, making sure that things get done right. And because I know next morning she will be here, how come this is not done? What about this? What about that? The typical boss. And over something at 6:30, she showed up right there with her goggles, her respirator mask, and a flashlight in her hand. And I'm trying to intimidate her. I say, what are you doing? This is going to get a little crazy here. I don't think you don't know what's going on here. And she gave me that look. She say, don't you worry about it. I say, I handle this. And she say, I know you can handle it. But I'm not going to leave you hanging here, walking from that end, and all that stuff. And tomorrow come over here and ask for what's the situation. I'm going to be right here with you. And believe me, we took a shower with that thing. It was so nasty, awful that I don't think if it was like for the 5th night or 4th night, I was going sick. I was like, I'm not going to do this no more. It was awful. And she was right here with a flashlight, making sure that, every little detail, because that was the thing that we need to get done like right away to get all the companies coming in into this building. So we need to be in the schedule, check the lobby, make sure nothing happened. Anybody, who's the boss could have been in her office and say, hey, Jose, give me a call if you got any problems, okay? Or she could have been on the car or outside getting fresh air, but not her. That's why I said she was tough cookie. And we stay here to 11:15 p.m., 3 nights in a row. And the next morning at 7:30, I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I have a meeting because we have an issue about safety over there in the mansion. I got a meeting with the president. I mean, come on. She was like not giving 1 inch. When she went away to Kentucky or where Solar Light's coming from, or she went to Italy or whatever, she went away from the job. She's always like, what's going on? Give me the report in the evening. How's everything going? Send me some pictures. And I was like, shooting pictures to her. She was right on. And that's why I admire that lady. I mean, anybody can sit in her desk and just be over there and like direct the whole project from there, but not her. She like to be here with the boys, where the action is. She understands the executive side, because I see her dress really well to do a presentation or meet with the ladies or with the president. And over time, she transformed to a hard-working woman right here on the field with the guys, with the people who do the work. And she got guts. She told me, when this building is done, I'm going to propose to the president that we're going to have a party right here with all of these workers. And I say, this has never been done in Mount Vernon. I've been doing a lot of projects here, never been done. And she was like, she went a little further than that. She said, I'm not only going to propose that, I'm going to propose to have a party with the workers and their families. I was like, no, come on, never going to happen. And she was just like, oh, believe me, it's going to happen. And I was like, she's a really top-notch lady for sure. And I was like, okay, if you want to do it, go ahead. And, it's very sad that she has to go like this. I mean, that Saturday morning when Wes called me, I was on my way to here because we need to, the tile people that were here and installing the tile, we need to get that done. And he called me early in the morning. You don't know how awful it is for me to walk in that door in this building and not seeing her or hear her voice or anything. It was a very not good feeling. So anyway, that's why I admire her, and I admire her because she was never, ever, ever discriminate anybody. It doesn't matter how you look. You can see a worker full of paint, dust, whatever, mud. She was right there. She was one of the kind. Have a personality, always smile, like he say, always, always. When we had issues in the building, because we have a lot of problems here, especially over there in the front, the ceiling and the floor, it was a whole bunch of stuff. And the other reason that I admire her is because when there was a problem, she never trying to find a guilty party or point fingers at anybody. She always say, let's find the solution. We need to put everybody together. One day we had to make a decision on the floor on the back. And we have a meeting, me, her, and the architect, and the tile guy, and a whole bunch of guys. And she was like, okay, I want everybody's opinion. We need to fix this problem, and we need to fix it now. I don't have time to waste here. And everybody sat quiet. And of course, everybody gave their opinion, so she chose whatever best was. And so, when you have somebody working on your side like that, it's very, very nice to have somebody neck to neck to understand the things in the executive side and on the field. We must learn from this. We must learn that tomorrow is not belong to us. It's belong to God. We must enjoy our life the best way possible. We must enjoy with our family, enjoy with our co-workers, because 70% of our time we spend it in our job. So if we don't enjoy life, and then what's the point? And I'm just going to leave it right there because I can, it's a couple more people who's going to say something about her. And I really, really thank you. You can see all these people here. This room is full. That's how you can tell how much a person means. And she really earned a respect, not only from me, all the workers that work in these buildings. And when you're the boss, sometimes you respect the boss because he or she is the boss. But when you earn that respect, it's something different. And she did earn it. Thank you. God bless you. Be good to each other. Thank you very much.
Marla was more than our project manager. Marla was our colleague, respected, genuine, and honest. She was someone who was willing to tell you what she really thought, and we were always better off for it. Marla was a mentor. Her office door was always open and was willing to help with whatever problem came up. And like any good teacher, she wouldn't outright give you the answer, but she would point you in the right direction. Marla was above all a friend. She was quick with a smile, even when things were difficult, and we enjoyed savoring the small victories together. She was a Hogwarts girl living in a Muggle world, and she will be greatly missed.
When I feel sad about Marla, I pull out my happy images, my happy memories. And there's one in particular that always makes me smile. We all know that Marla had this amazing ability to envision space, envision buildings, envision projects, envision them and manifest them. She knew how to get from here to there in her projects and all the steps in between. She'd collect her team and then she'd do it with full heart, full out heart. Now, maybe not everyone knew this. Sometimes I'm the last one to know things, but Marla loved chickens. Specifically, she loved egg-laying hens, and she thought chickens made the most wonderful pets. She told me in detail how she was going to go about having her own chickens at her home. She even knew the people in Florida who would sell her good, healthy chickens. Now, my grandparents raised chickens, usually a brood of about 3 dozen laying hens, Rhode Island Reds, for those who know anything about chickens. Grandpa said the trick to raising chickens is, of course, to create a good coop. A chicken coop that's unassailable to predators, strong roof, strong walls, safe laying boxes for the eggs. So I said, you're going to build a chicken coop in your backyard, I asked her, and she said, yeah, sort of. Well, in a nutshell, what she envisioned was not my grandfather's chicken coop. His was a no-nonsense, functional coop, weather-beaten boards, lots of chicken wire fencing, strong and tight. Not hers. She envisioned converting their entire garage into a more palatial version of a chicken coop. I don't know if you knew this, Wes. Her garage-turned chicken coop was going to have everything. Her hens were going to have everything. Heating, cooling, ventilation, lights, indoor-outdoor access, washable floor. For the chickens, it probably sounded like a cross between Fort Knox and the Taj Mahal. And in the center of that beautiful, beautiful chicken coop space, she'd have her rocking chair. So she could spend time with her flock, and she could hold her favorites in her lap and rock and read. And while she was reading, she could rock them while she was reading. I love that image of Marla. Marla also told me that when she retired, and no surprise, she already had the retirement year in mind, even though it was about 13 years from now. But when she retired, she wanted to be a professor so she could teach. She was absolutely passionate about her work, as we all know. I was so fortunate our paths crossed. I learned so much from Marla. And if I were giving her a teacher evaluation on life in general, mine would say something like, lessons well planned, lessons well taught with fun and joyous examples. Marla, thank you for your laughter, and Marla's laugh was the most incredible thing to hear. Marla, thank you for sharing your dreams, and mostly, thank you for sharing your journey. And that's all I've got.
So
I think I was the first person at Mount Vernon to meet Marla, and I met her almost to this day 10 years ago, on June 1st. She was working on her master's. Her thesis was about the use of BIM in historic preservation, and she contacted me and asked if she could come up and interview me because we had just completed our HBIM, and she came up on the 1st of June. And we had a very good conversation and a good interview about her work and our work, and she knew her stuff. She really did know BIM. Her ability with it was extraordinary. And, but what really grabbed me was her passion about the use of digital technologies in preservation. She knew what we did, and she wanted us to do it better. And that's what she brought to Mount Vernon. She interviewed me a second time for her PhD dissertation as well, and we kept in touch in those intervening years. So when we knew that we had to do this big project with the mansion, I had a conversation with Doug soon after he was president, not a good one for him, to tell him that we had this major project we needed to undertake. And although I had managed a lot of complicated preservation projects, I had always worked with small contractors, and I knew we were going to need a big general contractor for this project. And I think I phrased it to Doug, is that we need a project manager who knows how to deal with big boy contractors. And he agreed, and we created that position. The first person I thought of was Marla Holden. And I reached out to her and encouraged her to apply for this job. And I advocated for her, but she didn't need my advocating because her skills, what she brought to the job, sold everybody immediately, and we were all better off for the time that we spent as her colleagues. I learned a lot from Marla over the years that we worked together, and she always, as people say, this is the thing, she always had a smile on her face, and she was always welcoming to any conversation that you wanted to have, needed to have, and no matter what you needed from her, as whether it was simple or insanely complicated, she always came up with a way to make it happen for you. And I am extremely grateful for what she did for me professionally, and what she did for her other colleagues as well. At the end of many days, I would always be the last person in the preservation office after my team had gone home, trying to finish some things before I went home. And I would see her come around the corner and be framed in my doorway, and she would come in to talk to me about something that we needed to touch base on, and she'd sit down, and inevitably I would leave a lot later than I had intended on leaving, because we would have long, engaging, in-depth conversations, sometimes for over an hour. We talked about work, we talked about the world, we talked about what was going on in each other's lives. And I'm grateful for everything Marla did at work, and I know I'm going to miss the times when I ran into her at work or when I needed something from her at work. But what I'm really going to miss are those conversations with my friend.
Thank you all for being here tonight to share this moment, to remember and to really celebrate Marla's life and the way she touched all of us and her contributions to this place. I was Marla's first boss here at Mount Vernon before she transitioned to reporting directly to Dr. Bradburn. And I met her when she came to interview for the job of project manager. I had, in fact, just days before stepped into the job of Executive Director of Historic Preservation and Collections. And in the process of learning that job, I learned that I would have a project manager reporting to me. And I had no idea what project management was. And so I so clearly remember meeting Marla and this, raven-haired, piercing-eyed woman, clearly, so accomplished that it was almost intimidating to think about the fact that she might be reporting to me. But as you've heard, she truly came to us with this amazing unicorn background that combined construction experience, historic preservation training, and this really deep-seated fascination and love for historic preservation. And I've tried to think about, words that come to mind in thinking about Marla, and many of them have already been mentioned. But the first that comes to mind, as you've heard from so many of those who preceded me, is that of teacher. And she taught me so much about project management, about how to approach projects, and the planning, and the teamwork, and the working with people. But she was never condescending about the wealth of her knowledge. And so, and I never really felt like a boss in that sense, because I think we made a good team. She was always happy to let me be the front man and stand up there spouting plans to people like I knew what I was talking about. But to be there then when the hard questions started to be asked, that I could turn to Marla or to Tom if it was a specific preservation question. And Marla was always there to back me up and really dazzle people. Not because she intended to dazzle, because she was trying to show off, but because she was so well grounded in what we were doing and where we were going, and as Jose said, how we were going to get there. Not just the plans, but how we were going to get there. I also think about the richness of her life, the many facets of her life that she brought to us here at Mount Vernon. And it seems that I'm continually learning more about this richness of her life. Always discovering something else she was interested in, not only this love of preservation, but her travels, her love of lighthouses, her extensive photography career, even to the extent of thinking, gee, there aren't the right cameraman's jackets for women photographers, so I'll design one. That she was a Harry Potter fan, that she loved video games, that she was a trivia expert, that she was a grandmother. I couldn't believe that she seemed so young to me when I had met her. And her energy. I want to correct one thing that has been said. It's been referred to the problems that she solved. I don't think she saw them as problems. I think she saw them as challenges, perhaps, but also opportunities to figure out something new. And she was so very good at being willing to ask questions and to go and find the people who could help us figure out what we needed to know. Whether it was doing a safety assessment for the circles, for the bollards, a word I didn't even know about at the beginning of that project. And then her amazing persistence in pursuit of her goals. You've heard about her pursuit of the PhD. And when she came for that first interview, it was in December. And she said, yes, I'm working on my PhD and I'm going to finish it in May. And I thought, wow, this woman has no idea what she's getting into, the pace of life at Mount Vernon and doing a PhD at the same time. But she didn't get it done by that May, but she did get it done despite the interruptions and the challenges of COVID, and I believe a hurricane in Florida that closed the university and mixed communications. You can come, you can't come, a power outage, computers that didn't talk to each other, and I think she couldn't even see her notes for her presentation. But she persevered and she got it done, and she came back with that PhD. And the last word that I think has already been mentioned is her unflappability. That whatever question she came up, she had a smile, she was willing to address it and figure it out. And as so many have said, we will all miss her. I hope that, and I trust that we will carry forth her legacy, not only in finishing this project, this wonderful space that was so much a part of her life in the last few months, but in so many ways to make this a better place and a better world. Thank you.
Wow, Marla would be very impressed. Hello, my name is Terry. I was Marla's bestie. I met Marla about 20 years ago on a trip in India. We were on a photography tour. I had noticed Marla a few months prior to that in a class we were taking about travel photography, and at that time, she didn't smile. She just seemed really serious and very intense and didn't really want to seem to get to know anybody. I didn't see her interact with anyone at all, and I thought, wow, she's a very serious woman, you know. So after that, a few months down the road, I was very shocked to see her in India at our welcome meeting. It was a tour about travel photography, and it was a 2-week trip. It was fantastic. I found out later the reason she wasn't smiling during that time was because she was actually going through cancer treatments. So who's going to smile when they're going through that? You know, but she didn't let a small thing like anything like cancer keep her down. She was determined to get through that class no matter how crappy she felt. That was Marla. She was very determined to do whatever she wanted to do. So when I did see her on the bus the next day after that welcome meeting, I was surprised to see her in front of me on the bus. And I introduced myself, and when she looked at me and smiled, I was blown away by her beauty. She was just the most beautiful woman. And when she laughed, it was so infectious. Everybody laughed when she laughed. It was great. We hung out a lot on that trip and became fast friends almost immediately. And I was incredibly so happy to know that she only lived 15 minutes from me in Central Florida. So that meant we were going to have a lot more fun together. And we did. We traveled all over the world together, from Southeast Asia, Central America, South America, Cuba, and all over the United States. Marla was so smart, and it taught me a lot about photography as well. She had a way of explaining things that other people had tried, and it just didn't click, but she was just so good at explaining things and teaching people. I was very happy to have her teach me that. I remember right after we met, or after she met Wes, Marla and I were on a trip in Guatemala. We had a very busy day. I mean, our trips were fast-paced. We were roommates that trip, and we were about to go to bed, and I looked over at her in her bed, and she was smelling these soaps and smiling. I'm like, what are you doing? And she said, well, I miss Wes, and these are his soaps, and I just want to smell them because I miss him so much. And she just had this shit-eating grin on her face. And we just burst out hysterically laughing after that. About a year after Marla moved here, she invited me to come for a long weekend. She showed me all around this place. She was so incredibly excited to be here, to be a part of the team. She was so, so proud. And when she texted me the one day and told me she finally got her doctorate, we were just excited for her so much. As time went on, the pandemic hit, then tragedy struck for me. I lost a daughter. I got cancer. I mean, there's just so many things that happened in life that kept us from being able to visit each other. She actually texted me last year after my cancer treatment and wanted to know if she'd come visit me, but I just told her I needed to wait a little longer because I was still too sick. We had planned to go shoot the cherry blossoms around the National Mall this past March, and I was just too sick to come up. And we said, next year for sure. We're going to do it next year for sure. One of my favorite trips with Marla was a quick jaunt to New Orleans. She had to drop off this huge prop for Wes in one of his shows that he was doing. We spent the night in New Orleans, had fun exploring, because we were both photographers, of course, and then we were about to leave, and I said, Marla, let's do something before we go home. And I talked her into going to stay at this haunted plantation. It was called the Nodaway. It was the largest plantation in the South, and it was just beautiful. And we practically had the whole place to ourselves. Well, the guy at the front desk told me this story about some people and their haunted stories, and I went back to the room and I told Marla about it. She laughed and laughed, and we thought, well, we're gonna just spend the night here and see if anything happens. Well, nothing happened, but the next day she's like, okay, I gotta go get my coffee, because she was a grumpy woman if she didn't have her coffee in the morning. So she went, and I thought she was gone. I was gonna meet her at breakfast. I was taking a shower, and she came and scared the crap out of me while I was taking a shower. I screamed, I opened the shower curtain, and she laughed and laughed and laughed. It was hilarious. She thought she got me good, and she really did. Marla has so much to offer the world with her talents and her dedication. She loved her son, she loved her grandkids, and she told me that she was so lucky to find Wes, the love of her life. I will forever be grateful for the time spent with Marla and traveling the world and having the time of our lives. I love you, Marla, and I miss you so much.
Thank you all. Travel with Marla, I mean, all over the country, all over the world. She loved to travel. She wanted to go to every country. And she was she was close. And then as we actually were settling in here, and it got to be where she and I were like, hey, do you want to go here? You know, and yeah, not really. We've traveled so much. And after a while, you know what it takes to get to where you want to go, and you weigh it, you know, like, I don't know. But she went to so many places and collected so many memories and so many things. She resides, I got her ashes and I walked around my house to see what I was going to put them in, because there's no way I was going to get an urn. I was going to find one of the things that Marla brought home, and this is Papua New Guinea, this wonderful little basket, this bowl and stuff. And with that, I had an idea, and I just wanted to put this out here. It might sound a little macabre to some of you, and some of you it might appeal to, but with all her traveling, I took her ashes and I put some of them in little vials, little 5-ounce vials, little corks in and stuff. And I offer it up to you. My contact information's on the program and stuff. If you find yourself going on an exotic trip somewhere, if you find yourself traveling to a place you just love, means something for you, and you want to take a little piece of Marla with you, just please contact me. I'll send it to you. You can bury it, toss it, or spread it. And just take a picture and send it to me. So I'm just putting that out there. I thought it might be a cool idea. I'll be doing that when I do my travels. So we're going to finish up here. There's a wonderful, wonderful video that was put together by, raise your hand, right here, this man here. Just give him a little. It's just a really nice tribute, and it's an interview with Marla and stuff you get to see. And after the video, there's a song that's going to come up. So I'd like you to enjoy the video. When the song comes up, Marla and I had a friend named Martin Sexton, wonderful musician, and we'd go see him. He travels all around the country. He's very famous in that niche kind of way. And every time we'd see him, when I introduced Marla to him initially, they just clicked, and he loves her, and she loves him. And we'd go see him up in Saranac Lake and stuff. And he wrote this one song called Happy, and it became her song. She just loved that song. And she said, because it personifies her life at this point, and I want you to know this, she was just content and very happy. Everything with us, do no more. We just wanted to grow old. The family, just proud, happy to go see them. Her friends, her colleagues, this place, everything was on all cylinders. So that's how she went out. And, you know, what can you say? It was a really nice, full life. And when this song comes on, whenever we went to see Marty, he would dedicate it to her, a special lady out in the audience, and he'd play it for her. She just loved it. Tonight, he's playing in New York City, and he told me, oh, yes, I will be dedicating it to her right about now. So just so you know. So we're going to play the video, and we'll do this song. When the song plays, take time if you want to offer your little prayer, a little meditation, just listen to it. It's a lovely thing. And then afterward, we're going to head on out to the lobby, okay? So enjoy the video and the song. Thank you so much for coming, you guys.
Good morning, Marla.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, thank you for doing this, first of all.
I'm Marla Holden, and my title at Mount Vernon is Director of Project Management. My role in this project is to be the lead on the project during the construction phase of the project. My degree is rather unique, and that's what I bring to Mount Vernon.
Will sing to you. Hold your head up, darling. Only God knows where you're going. Pull yourself together. Lovely puzzles sometimes fall apart. Drive to the end of scenic highway, then come back again. Keep your Polaroids. Those memories will carry you. Hold your head up, darling. Only God knows where you're going. Pull yourself together. Lovely puzzles sometimes fall apart. Joy and pain are momentary fragments in our days. Joy and pain are momentary.
My role is also to lead my colleagues through the pre-construction phase of the project, which we've been working on for the last 4 years. And I learned very quickly in the construction industry that the planning of a project is usually 2 to 3 times as long as the actual construction time of a project. And if you try to shortcut the planning process, it usually shows up in the construction phase. So the longer you can give a project to be planned, the more flawless your execution of that project will be. So when I came here, I started to try and implement this idea here at Mount Vernon. And this is one of the first big projects that we are implementing, this long design planning phase before we actually start construction.
Fragments in our days. Joy and pain are momentary fragments in our days. Joy and pain are momentary
started, we had to brainstorm a lot of, beeping again, to improve the atmosphere in the cellar, so that when we replace the foundation walls, they don't degrade again. And why we're doing it now is, I don't know why we're doing it now.
Yeah, those past 3 questions were now spot on.
I'm so like, not like that inside.
You're doing great.
Thank you all for being here. Let's continue to tell stories about Marla out in the lobby. There's going to be some refreshments there. Thank you so much.